Welcome to the Bitcoin Roadshow. It's Craig speaking. Two things I want to cover today. First one is staking with Zilliqa, if you own any Zilliqa, and also Cardano as well. So there's quite a number of coins out there. Staking is obviously a bit of a buzzword this year, along with DeFi, which it falls under the DeFi umbrella, the decentralized finance umbrella. And it's probably one of the more exciting parts of cryptocurrency in general when it comes to a saver's point of view, because this gives you the ability, unlike the banks that don't give you, well, for years haven't given you anything more than, let's say, 5% interest, and that's if you're in some country that's desperate to have your money, like South Africa a few years ago was given pretty good interest rates only because their economy was suffering. But for the most part, for many years, most countries have only given about 1% interest, which equates to pretty much nothing, even if you've got over 100 grand in your account. You look at the interest payment, you think, oh, that's nothing. It's what I'm better off investing my money, and that's obviously what keeping interest rates low is designed to do. It's designed to force people to put the money back into the economy, to punish savers effectively, right? And that's what cryptocurrency was against, is to put a situation where you could actually squirrel away, pack away funds for a rainy day, so that you're covered. You don't have to live in fear of uncertainty when times go bad, right? So I'll just jump straight into it. The wallet that I'm using, a friend put me onto this one. I was using for Cardano, I was using ADA.io. Now I staked that one, and it doesn't look like the rewards are too high. I've only made, I think it equates to something like $200, and I've got a lot of Cardano. It's probably one of my biggest hodls. So I mean, it's not really that much. It's probably, I don't know what the percentage is. Very, very low, much lower than what I know is available. There is a calculator. I'll bring it up soon. I can't remember what the name was. Right, so it's called stakingrewards.com. So you can check in there if to see what you can actually see the different staking pools. What you'll find is the staking pools range from around about generally 4%, some go up to about 7%, and a few of them are up to 9%. That's all I could find in there. You compare that to Zilliqa. Zilliqa is around about the 30%. It's really high at the moment. So then again, the Cardano staking's been around longer. Part of the high rewards at the beginning are to get people to stake their funds. Now, the other question people might have is, how safe is it? Oh, first of all, on Zilliqa, I'm using the Moonlit wallet. That's the one my friend told me about, because I was using Zilla. What the hell is it called again? I was using the online wallet called Zilliqa, and that does have an area that shows staking, but it doesn't seem to work as great out at the moment. So they'll probably have that available. In the meantime, what you can do, if you're a user of the Zilliqa wallet, it's the exact same way. You connect your whatever type of hardware wallet you've got into your USB connection. You can actually simultaneously connect it to Zilliqa as the Moonlit wallet, Moonlet, Moonlit, on your phone. So it works on Android and Apple. So I was surprised to see it actually simultaneously access both, which is pretty cool. So the Nano X, which by the way, they didn't actually have a wallet for the Nano X before. It was only the Nano S that had the wallets. They do have that now, which means you can obviously use phone-based wallets now. Or you could use them before, but you'd have to get a connection that has like a USB-C on both sides, or USB on both, what's it called, micro on both sides. So yeah, this just allows you to use the Bluetooth feature now, and the staking compared to Cardano is absolutely piss easy. It really is simple. Yeah, I can't show any screenshot. I don't use any software for this sort of stuff. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's really easy to use. It gives you a list that shows you all the rewards. It also shows you commission, so I'm going to clear that one up as well. So commission is what you have to pay to be in that staking pool, and some of them are up to 12%. For example, I think CEX, which is one of the ones I'm in about 6 different staking pools. I'm going to compare them so I can report back on the channel in a few weeks' time on which ones give which rewards and how they actually worked out for me, basically. But I'm using, what's it called, the Zilliqa. I'm using CEX. I'm using about 5 or 6 of them. The most expensive one, which I still staked on, was 12% commission. Now that's quite expensive, but you know, it's same as Cardano. You've got to see what people are doing with that money. They might be producing videos. They might be investing in infrastructure to benefit the ecosystem. So it's worth looking into these sort of things to see what each mining pool is up to. It's unlikely that some of them are just starting up just to make a killing and you know, I'd say most people who are making these staking pools believe in the projects they're involved in, and they also wouldn't attract any users if they were just totally in it for nefarious purposes or greed. All right. So the other thing as well is there's on the Cardano staking pools, there's smarts seem to be built into that network to prevent any staking pool becoming too big, which is really good. It maintains the decentralized nature of the network, rather than having a situation where 2 or 3 companies have massive staking pools. In the same way that on you'll see on Ethereum, for example, that there's certain players in the market that are the what are they called, the mining pools that you have for Bitcoin and Ethereum, and it can centralize power quite easily, which is actually the opposite of, it's against everything that crypto stands for. This is obviously an issue that's quite prevalent in the Bitcoin BSV and the Bitcoin Cash communities, or Bitcoin ABC, as that was merged together as one, effectively. So the other ones that I'm going to be staking soon are TOMO chain, and also what else? There's others. Damn it, I just can't remember. There's others. Oh, Digibyte as well, of course. I don't know why I haven't done Digibyte yet. I really need to get. I think they had staking maybe even before Cardano did, but don't quote me on that. But I haven't. As I say, I've only really got into the staking thing in the last couple of months. I did Cardano first. It was actually premature as well in the system I used. I'm going to use a different wallet. I'm going to go back and do it again. So I'm going to unstake what I have on the ADA system, because it pays next to nothing anyway. And I'll see how I get on and then report back about that. So that's to explain the 2 things you've got to really think about. Well, there's a lot to think about on Cardano. It will explain some of it. I need to learn more about it. As far as working out which staking pools are the best to use, I would say grab a thread and pull. Just choose something, see how it goes. You're not locked into staking forever. And the most important thing to remember is your money's not actually at risk. People can't steal your money. The staking pool can't steal what you have. It's not how staking works. It still stays on your hardware wallet, still in here. You still have control of it, and you can unstake at any time. You can break that, but you are. I think the lock-in is more of a rewards lock-in. You won't get benefits that you would otherwise get if you'd stayed the full term, right? So you can take your money out, and most of them are around about 14 days to start getting rewards. The Zilliqa staking, it pays you dividends each day. Actually, I need to go in and check mine. The thing you need to remember about staking on Zilliqa and on the Moonlit wallet is that you need to basically cash out your rewards and restake them, so you get compounding interest off them, or else you're just going to get the interest off the initial amount that you put in, and it is very generous, as I say. I think it's around about, from the ranges I've seen, they range between 28% to 32%. try find a bank that's ever given anything like those percentages. Even during major economic turmoil, you wouldn't find it, right? So it's obviously better to be in crypto than it is to be in cash, or anything else for that matter. So the next thing I wanted to cover was Starlink and the European equivalent. There's quite a few companies doing this now, but from the look of it, there's a British company. I can't remember the name of them. I'm not going to bother. It's not relevant. Their name is not relevant. Even Starlink's name is not relevant. What I'm talking about here is satellite internet grids like Starlink. Okay, so and how this could affect Bitcoin. So, to understand why Bitcoin is not affected, why the US government and other governments can't shut down Bitcoin, the reason why that is because of the fact it uses the Ethernet protocol, right? TCP/IP protocol, transmission control internet protocol, right? So basically, the reason they can't block that kind of traffic is because you can detect what just through deep packet inspection. So, for example, you have a firewall. You get firewalls all around the internet, various different brands. You get software firewalls. You can do a thing called deep state packet inspection, and that can look for certain signatures in the same way that you can take trend analysis on things like YouTube and Twitter that can say, right, this person's looking up right-wing Hitler stuff and whatever, not even Donald Trump, extreme right-wing stuff. Therefore, let's feed him more of the same to polarize his mind, so that society rips itself apart. That's what the companies have been doing for the last since the like button was invented, and since trend feeds were invented around about 2007, 2009 era. So, using that same kind of technology, not only can you do regular forms of deep state packet inspection, but you can look for trends. So you can say with these bit streams, what are the general signature of this traffic? What does it look like? What are the qualities of this bit stream that is happening between these two IP addresses? This peer-to-peer traffic that's happening here, right? So that's one thing they can easily do. They could do this already, but they can't shut it down because the internet is filled with multi-path equipment, right? So you think about all the routers on the internet. So you have HP, you've got Huawei, you've got Cisco. We're going to make a large amount of that backbone, but you've also got a ridiculous amount of other companies out there, and the internet is multi-pathed as well. There's the thing, for example, just on the Cisco technology called spanning tree technology. This is where you start up a piece of equipment, and rather than looking for a path that was programmed into it, it can look for the shortest path. It's called spanning tree. So it allows it to start up very quickly and establish a path very fast when you start up a router or a switch, right? Now, if you had a backdoor into Cisco equipment, you could probably shut down all Cisco equipment and see. Or maybe if you had a backdoor like the US government most likely will, the Chinese government will have a backdoor into Huawei. It's just a given, right? You could probably put in effectively a command that could be spawned out to all other devices that would make it seek and destroy certain internet addresses that just not basically block certain IP addresses, right? So, for example, you could say here's a list of known exchanges, known Bitcoin nodes. They can do this already. But what stops it happening? The fact that there's all these multiple paths it can take. All the equipment is not controlled by the same company. So therefore, there's no point in the American government showing their hand that they can actually control Cisco in the background, which would destroy the share price of Cisco because no one would want to use their equipment if it became known that there's backdoors. And there is backdoors in every system. It's just a fact. The governments would not allow these things to even go out there in each country because we know how controlling all of these governments are. I would say the same would even be true possibly for Microtech when it comes to the Russian government, right? Doesn't matter where you're from, if the equipment gets produced in your country, the government of that country, the totalitarian government, like they all are, will make sure they have a backdoor into it, okay? So don't believe any of this hyped up bullshit that it's just Huawei. It's Huawei and the rest of them, right? So why is this an issue for Bitcoin? So what would happen is, in the case of Elon Musk, he'd be completely controlled by the U.S. government, even if he pretends to be libertarian and not that kind of guy. He is, because he doesn't have a choice, right? And if you have one type of equipment owned by one company, and that is the grid, what ends up happening is that everyone will jump ship to use that grid. And in time, of course, the old internet would drop off because it would become surplus to requirement. It would be probably too expensive for people to keep the equipment going. So then it would just fall away, because it wouldn't be worth, it's the old law of economics. It wouldn't, if it's going to cost you extra to keep something going, more than it would be to run it through the new system, then the old system just falls away. And then you'd be in a scenario where you'd have a handful of networks so one network would be totally Tesla controlled, or whatever, Starlink controlled. One link would be totally that British and European company controlled. There's another European company as well that's doing this, because they're talking about the slow speeds in Germany, for example, that were down in mid-30s, like 36. They're ranked as far as internet speed below Poland, and far below countries like Slovenia here, which has got a common fiber speed of 500 megabits a second and a common 4G speed of 20 megabits a second. 5G is actually outlawed over here. It was, and some awesome people signed a petition to make that happen until there was more studies done. So what can actually happen is, with one company in control and one type of hardware being used, you could actually block Bitcoin traffic through deep state packet inspection, and by simply knowing where all the nodes are, or blocking all the nodes you know about. And it would become, even if you didn't block every single node, it would get to the stage where it would start to grind the network, to the virtual network, to a halt. So that is the danger for all cryptocurrency, where government could take back control again, is if everyone jumps ship and starts using these single company networks. And that may even be the plan. It may actually be the kind of, well, for them, a silver lining by putting these single player operators in. It's not the reason that I wouldn't be going for it. I probably would someday in the future be using a mixture of one of these networks, and if they're there's no point protesting what's already there. I've already given my opinion on the other channel, on the Red Pill Diaries channel, about Starlink. I don't think it's their right to put this up and destroy the night sky for the whole planet. No matter where you are in the world, you're just going to see a constant grid of flowing satellites floating around the sky. It's going to be disgusting. We should have just waited for better technology. Simple as that. But anyway, it's happening. It looks like it's unstoppable now. They're putting more satellites up all the time. There is at least 500 up now from just Starlink alone, and I don't know what the European companies have done yet. I'm pretty sure there's a Korean company as well doing this also. So this is not something you're going to stop the momentum for. It's been hushed up. As far as they haven't made a big media play about this. They've effectively suppressed any opposition to this. And it will be for good reason. So that means that something's rotten in Denmark when you were having stories being effectively suppressed. So the other side of it as well is that a company called Blockstream put up a satellite network a while ago for Bitcoin. So of course there's more than one way it's going to catch. But from what I understand, Bitcoin's the only network that actually has resilience from a full internet dropout. And would it be fast enough to cater for everyone? Probably not. But Bitcoin doesn't have to remain what its original idea was, which was a transactional medium. Bitcoin can be the gold. It can be a savings thing. It can be something that you only transact in every now and then. Effectively, your safety savings, right? You can use Cardano or Monero or whatever it is for your day-to-day spending. They're faster anyway. This is probably why Bitcoin has held back. The Bitcoin core team has held back from returning Bitcoin to a larger block size. I think Bitcoin used to be either 4 or 8 megabytes when it was first brought out. Not a lot of people know that, but that's the reality. It was. That's why it's so ridiculous about Roger Ver and his Bitcoin Cash, or Craig Wright and his Bitcoin SV, Satoshi's Vision apparently, projects, because they're just complete bullshit. They're aware of this as well, that from the Genesis block to about the first year of Bitcoin, around about 2010. I think they changed the block size down to 1 megabyte. Doesn't explain why Satoshi did it, but I suspect it was something to simply make the traffic lighter, the load lighter, to make it so that it wouldn't bloat out, so that people would have to come up with innovations to keep the traffic small and nimble, and at the same time make it easier to wind up your own node, so you wouldn't have to download a massive blockchain. Anyone who's used Monero, for example, it's quite annoying on there. You got to download a few gigs, I think it is, when you run a Monero wallet, even a proper wallet. Right, so I'm going to leave it at that. Just food for thought. What could happen one day with these new players to the market that are going to give us super fast, globally intrusive networks. The reason why they can't be trusted is because that is a playground for government totalitarian censorship of the internet in the future. And don't make any mistakes about that. Okay, cool, thanks. Yeah, that's it, boom.